Body.
Jason was here.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. Thank you, Josh, as always. And thank you to Casey, our guest.
Thank you.
Welcome to Chasen Was Here, the podcast.
Love it.
Dude, I'm really glad to have you on.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the invite.
Let me tell everyone how this kind of all came about a little bit. One thing, which is really cool, which we'll be talking about quite a bit, is that you're running for Huntington Beach City Council.
Yes.
And that's really cool because I lived in Huntington Beach pretty much my whole life.
Yep.
And we grew up together.
Right.
And I went to the same high school.
Yes.
And then randomly, the last guest that was on the podcast, John Johnson, was having a comedy show.
Right.
And I went and saw that comedy show. And you were giving an announcement and talking to everybody on the comedy show about how you're running.
Right.
And then our mutual buddy Andrew was like, "Hey man, you guys should do a podcast." And you're like, "Hell yeah, like let's do it."
Like I said, I've always wanted to do a podcast, so yeah, I was fired up.
Dude. Well, thank you for coming on, and you brought some beers, so we'll talk about that. Thank you for that.
No problem.
That's a great tradition here, and Chasen was here.
Okay.
So I guess first let's talk about Casey McKeon.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And so you're running against 15 other people.
There's 15 total, so 14 other people.
Okay, 14 other people. So there's 15 total, and there's going to be 3 spots, right?
Yeah. So the way it works is there's 7 council members on city council, and 3 people. There's 3 open spots, so 2 incumbents are not running again, and then and then 1 person termed out. So yeah, so there's 3 spots open, and there's 15 candidates running for those 3 spots.
Wow.
And it's just whoever gets the most votes. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's back up on that a little bit. Like, how does one decide to run for city council? Like, how did this even come about?
Yeah. No, I mean, I've always I'm very interested in politics. I mean, I follow it closely just because, I obviously, not that I don't I don't want to use the word care, but I'm really invested in knowing what's going on, in our city, our state, and then our nation.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm very, all I really do is read and watch news and just try to educate myself on all the issues. And so I've always had a passion for that. I've always wanted to, at one point in my life, run for something.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think it was going to be now. I kind of tabled it till later in life, and I always joked I'll be the mayor of Huntington Beach one day.
Yeah.
As a 3rd generation, Huntington Beach resident. So, but now's the time. I've realized that with my family's really close with the mayor, current mayor Lynn Sameta.
Oh, cool.
And so she's not running again. She's stepping down. She got just so beat up this year with everything going on with COVID and all the protests. And you can look up some of the, city hall, council meetings, council meetings on Monday nights, go back on the tape, and it's crazy.
Oh, were they all yelling at her and things like that? Oh, at the city council meeting. Oh, wow. Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's her fault that COVID happened.
That and just, the Black Lives Matter protesters coming in.
And,
So, and she's the nicest lady.
Yeah.
And she's it was just too much. She did 4 years and did a great job, and was another fellow grassroots candidate and really wanted to represent the community. So she called me and told me that she's stepping down. And then Eric Peterson, who's also a family friend, he's currently on the council, and he's like, "Look, I know you wanted to do it, in your life. I think now's the time to go for it." And I agreed, and I just feel it's critical that local citizens, right, grassroots candidates, step up. Like I say, patriots got to step up, get involved, fight for your city. Because it's hard, right? You got all these career politicians, and a lot of them actually use Huntington as a launching pad for higher office, because it's we're a big little city. I call it we have national, prestige and name recognition. So a lot of politicians come here to use that as a springboard to higher office. So I just think it's important that people, we all have full-time jobs, right? And everyone cares and they're invested, they want to do it, but it's daunting. It's a lot of time commitment. You're sacrificing your free time. So that's why I feel a lot of citizens don't step up and run for office, but that's how it's supposed to be, right? Government by the people, for the people, right? Not career politicians.
Yeah. So how does that work exactly? Yeah. So are you going to be still working a job?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll still be working full time at your. What do you do outside of this?
Yeah. So I work in commercial real estate.
Okay.
We mostly just renovate, shopping centers.
Okay.
So we'll take and if where my parents' family's business is, the Beef Palace on Springdale and Warner.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so so Caddy Corner from that is a center
That's been there forever.
Yeah,
man.
1970.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like the best. It's like I remember going and buying like steaks from there and carne asada and stuff.
Oh yeah,
It's really good.
No, it's an institution actually. So Calvin's my stepdad, so he owns it. His dad opened it up in 1970, and they have this big marquee pylon sign in the parking lot. And he called me today to come over and check it out. So I went to the center, and he put up on the marquee the huge pylon sign, like vote number 12, Casey McKeon, City Council. So like everyone driving by sees this huge sign of my name. I took a photo and sent all my buddies, and like, dude, that's ridiculous.
Oh, that's cool. So you're number 12 on the ballot.
Like I said, number 12 on the ballot, but number 1 in your hearts.
Now, is that? Did you have a mantra or like your slogan?
Yeah. Well, that was it. That just came to me when I was when you saw me last week at the comedy show.
Yeah.
When I was getting up there, I was like, I got to say something kind of funny. So I just popped in my head when I was like sitting there waiting, and then kind of my tagline is just answering the call to serve.
Yeah.
Which is going back to what I was talking about is just people have to take the time and fight to protect our city. I truly feel that your city elections are what really matters in your life, right? I mean, those are issues that you will feel personally. The national stuff is, of course, important, but the local city issues, actually, you can affect real change. I mean, some of these elections are won by, 100 votes, which is crazy. I also learned that, like all the moms in the city, they're young and they're young kids in grade school and whatnot, and only 10% of them voted in the last election. And most of these issues affect them. And
10% of mothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're so busy.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing for me is just trying to get out and meet as many people and talk to them about that. And, you guys are affected more than probably anybody in the city with your kids in school and all that. So you should really stay, informed and go vote and really learn about the issues that are important.
So how do you, like, let's say I decide, oh, hey, I'm going to run.
Right.
And then, so I go fill out a form and just turn in a form. And then now I'm running and I'm on the ballot.
Yeah, so the way it works is you have to, it's called pulling papers. So you got to go pull papers, which I just learned all this. I mean, I've never ran for office. Yeah.
So you're like reading, okay, step number 1, pull papers.
Well, no, I have people helping me.
Oh,
I talked to Lynn and Eric. I'm like, what do I do? And so they call this lady Robin at the city, which I did, pull papers. And then she's like, you got to get 30, registered voters, residents of Huntington Beach to sign this form to endorse you. So you got to go do that, and you got to make sure that they're valid. So you got to ask them, are you guys registered to vote here? And my neighbor's son across the street, he's 18. I'm like, you registered to vote here? He goes up to Chico State. He's like, I am. I'm like, okay. He was the one I was kind of nervous about that it wouldn't pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you got to get 30 votes, and then you turn that in with all the other paperwork. You got to file like a form 700. Yeah, it's 700, which is like a financial disclosure statement. If you own a business in the community, which I do, I'm small business owner on the commercial real estate side, and then list all that out. And then that's pretty much it. So just like those 2 forms, and then you can do like a campaign statement, which I did. It has to be like 200 words, and I massaged it, 100 different ways. I exactly got it on 200 words. So I was like, I really want to leave that in. How can I?
Kind of like a tweet.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
When you're like, gosh, I'm way over. I need to cut down. And
well, no, I learned like Huntington Beach is actually just 1 word. It's not 2. It counts as 1. So I was like, okay.
Okay, there you go.
So that's in the city. So you can say, city of Huntington Beach. That's actually only 1 word technically. I'm like, okay. So just, do all that. And that was like $1,100 for that. Okay. And that's what's going to be in the ballot. So you'll see my name and then my candidate statement. So if people, if I haven't done a good enough job getting my message out, they can go in there and go, oh, what's this guy about?
Read the statement.
Yeah, they have like your title. So it's business owner / finance commissioner, because I'm currently on the finance commissioner on the city hall. Oh, okay. Or in city hall. So
you've been involved in local government quite a bit then.
Yeah, I mean, with Lynn, she nominated me to the investment advisory board last year. So I've been doing that. And then recently she just nominated me 1 step higher to the finance commission. So I had my first meeting last week on Zoom, which is not awesome, but the Zoom stuff just drives me nuts, man.
Oh yeah. You're doing everything on Zoom.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so part of the finance commission, I'm on there now. We just really go through the budget and learn all the financial issues in the city, and which is crazy. I mean, I've learned so much just on that. So I do have experience in City Hall in that regard, and then through my work, when we renovate shopping centers, or like I was saying across from the Beef Palace, we renovated that center and tore down like an old bank building and put in a multi-tenant building with like Starbucks drive-through. So through that process, you got to go to the City Hall and get entitlements. And so I'm comfortable with that and like the planning commission. And then now being as a finance commissioner, I do have enough experience where now I realize like, I can do this, and I have the confidence to step up and do more. And it's really, like I said, it's sacrificing your time commitment. I mean, I talked to the wife. I was like, you want to do this? Our weekends are pretty much gone. I mean, you come home from work, and at night I'm doing city council stuff and just campaigning. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. So she was fine with it. I'm fine with it. I'm excited about it. But it is, to answer your earlier question, I mean, I'll have my full-time job, and then there's 2 city council meetings a month, so every other Monday.
Dang. So so you're on the finance committee. How's HB doing? Are they looking good? Looking bad?
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's one of the things I want to focus on is like reviving the economy, because they were actually doing quite well.
Yeah.
But this year, took a huge hit with the pandemic. And their main source of tax revenue is through, obviously, sales tax from tourism, the hotel reservation fees. It's called TOT, and those are obviously way down because the hotels are, you know what I mean,
everywhere.
And then the which I didn't know, I think you'll find this interesting, is the Huntington Beach Boulevard of cars, like all those car dealerships. So that's like those 3 are their main sales tax like generators.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So tourism, the car dealerships. What was the third one?
So tourism, and then the hotel reservation fees, which is basically tourism as well.
Yeah.
So, just sales tax in general. So I think the stat was there's like 3 million visitors a year to Huntington Beach.
Dang.
And so that's way down this year. So
nobody's traveling right now. That's what's so crazy. It's I just took a trip to Montana.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and so I've
always wanted to go there.
Oh, it's awesome, man. I didn't I didn't really know what to expect. Everybody said it's beautiful there, but no. It's beautiful there.
Oh, I'm sure it's like God's country.
Yeah.
You watch that show Yellowstone?
No.
With Kevin Costner?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's really, you got to watch it, man. It's awesome. It's actually mostly shot in Utah, but it's supposed to be in Montana.
Oh, okay.
But some of the countryside is just, it's insane.
Yeah, it's when I got there, I was like looking around. I'm like, man, I kind of see why they call it God's country. This is pretty cool. Bozeman, Montana. Yeah. It doesn't get as cold as you think because it's in some valley. But I was talking to a bunch of people about it, and apparently a lot of people are moving to Bozeman, Montana. Really? They were like, yeah, it's blowing up here. Everybody's coming and moving here. Probably because pandemic makes everybody kind of reevaluate life, reevaluate where they live, reevaluate what they're spending, and like you just go to a town that isn't as populated and popular, and then that's kind of that. It was just interesting to me. But what made me think of that was the travel when I was I had to go through a couple of airports to get there, and it was a ghost town.
I bet.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. I've traveled a lot, and I just was like, wow, this is the weirdest thing to walk through this airport and like almost nobody there.
It's gonna be so eerie.
Yeah, and this was just even a couple weeks ago, so it was just like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, we got to do the beer you brought in.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's tradition here, and Chasen was here, that guests bring in a drink and tell us a little bit about it, and tell us why, like, what's up with this drink? Why do you like this drink? Why did you choose this to be the one to bring in?
Not so much the flavor, but the brewery itself. So this is called Four Sons Brewery. It's in Huntington Beach. It's off of Gothard, just north of Ellis, kind of right by the fire station. Well, cheers first, man.
Well, cheers.
Yeah,
thanks for being on, by the way.
Thank you, man.
And thanks for the beer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's Four Sons, and the reason why I picked it is because, as I was alluding to a little bit, is that's one of the main things I want to focus on is reviving the economy, and I want to do that through the small businesses and giving them the resources they need, understanding what they're experiencing, the concerns they have.
So how do you do that? How do you revive the economy?
I know it's a great question, and so it's a great question. So what I'm really focused on, my cousin Sean's helped me out. He's really tight with all the, kind of restaurant and small business owners down on like Main Street. Mm-hmm. He knows these guys, the Four Sons guys. We're going to an event there next Saturday, and we're actually I'm creating like a small business task force. So we're gonna probably once a week, all sit down. I'm gonna hear, what they're experiencing, what concerns they have, what they're experiencing in the city, with new permits, et cetera. I don't know if you've been down to Main Street recently, but it's awesome. Like all the restaurants have now gone out into the street.
Yeah, actually, I love that.
It's amazing.
Like, I hope we keep that. It's very European in that sense. Like, because they have that in Long Beach too, and so like on 2nd Street and Pine Street, and then they have it. And I've been on Main Street in Huntington, and it was like just really cool to be able to sit outside and eat and things like that.
Well, yeah, you got an ocean view, man. It's
Yeah,
like,
I know.
It's like let's take advantage of it.
Yeah.
You're on the ocean.
So
I never understood that.
Damn.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your platform.
Yeah.
And I'll hand it off to you on that. But so like ultimately, if somebody is watching this and they're thinking, okay, well, Casey McKeon, number 12, right?
Yep.
And so number 12.
What's this guy's
Yeah.
name?
What's this guy's story? Like, why am I going to vote for him?
Yeah, so just on the background, like I said earlier, third generation HB resident. My grandpa moved here after serving in the Korean War as a doctor, and then my mom grew up here, went to Harborview Elementary, and then Marina High School, where I graduated from. Same thing for me, Harborview, and bounced around all the different grade schools like Marine View, Mason View, Circle View, and then went to Marina. So that's kind of like my personal background, and then. Bought a home 2 years ago with my wife, which is, I just feel so like honored and fortunate to be able to do that. I've always wanted to have a home in Huntington.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you. So that was a big moment. We're down on the south side by off of like Newland in Atlanta, and we'll get into that later. But that opened my eyes as well with everything going on down there. So things I really want to focus on. A lot of people don't know this, but so Huntington Beach is a charter city.
Yeah.
So there's about 121 charter cities in California out of the 500 total cities. And so any city can be a charter city. And what that means is you have constitutional rights as a city to decide and govern the city the way you see fit. So anything that falls under the jurisdiction of like a municipality, we decide how that runs, and Sacramento can't tell us what to do.
Is that why Huntington is such a bit of a rebel?
Yes.
Because with masks and even with the protests, it's been a bit contentious. Like there's big protests on both sides of the issues going on there.
Yeah. So so one of the main, and this you'll probably remember this, but when Newsom declared California like a sanctuary state, however you feel about that issue is an aside. What it is though is with that passing that law, that allows Sacramento to dictate how our police force is, run and operated. Mm-hmm. As a charter city, like they can't do that. They can't tell us how to run our city.
Oh, that's why you guys
the police
can go
force,
against.
So public. That's falls under the purview of public safety. And that's part of the main roles of a government, the municipality. So we sued the state, pushing back, saying this is overreach. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. It went all the way up to the California Supreme Court. They pushed it back down in the Court of Appeals where it's sitting right now. So we're still fighting it. So that all falls under their purview of it's called local control, which is a big thing. And so that's one thing I want to preserve. There's a lot of threats to our city now. People like special interest groups trying to come in, developers tell us how we can run our city. Trying to push their weight around, but it's not up to them. It's up to us as citizens to decide that, right? And so it's critical that we focus on that, and that's why one of the main reasons I'm running as a local grassroots guy is I want to make sure that's protected. I mean, I don't have all the answers, right? But if we listen to our neighbors and our community, let's come up with solutions. But again, it's up to us to decide how we handle those problems. We know the issues we face. Let's come up with solutions to solve them, not have some, big overreach from Sacramento. Another good example was when Newsom shut down our beaches over the summer, like right before the 4th of July.
Yeah.
If you remember that?
That's crazy.
And so it was, it was from this disingenuous photo that was taken, horizontally from the pier, right? Is the beaches are packed and shut it down.
Yeah, and then the other angle.
Yeah,
shows
you go to the helicopter view and everyone's spread out. And I was like, it's so absurd anyway. Like, when have you ever gone to the beach, especially in Huntington? We have the most. Didn't know if you know this. We have the most longest stretch of beach of any city in the country.
No, I'm Huntington Beach does.
Yeah,
really interesting. Okay.
So
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
But I mean, when have you ever gone to the beach and been closer than 6 feet to like a total stranger?
Yeah, no,
I mean, just
never. I'm like Huntington Beach. I lived there pretty much my whole life.
Yeah, just in general. I mean, any beach you go to, I mean, it's just, the whole argument's absurd to me.
Yeah,
so,
and you're out in the sun. That's where you want everybody to be instead of cooped up in the house. Yeah. And there's so many studies that say the virus gets killed within 30 seconds being in sunlight. And it's like,
so that, I mean, that was when he did that. I mean, that was the tipping point for me, for all my neighbors. I mean, it was crazy, man. Like, everyone was so fired up about that. I mean, again, it's not his decision. I mean, you can shut down the state beach. So basically from Beach Boulevard, north to Golden West, that's all city beach.
Yeah.
Right. And then south and north of that, where the wetlands are, that state beach. That's fine. But you can't tell us like what we can and cannot do because we're a charter city. So that's a big one. So really fight to preserve that, which is critical. And a lot of people don't know that. So that's a big one. Really want to fight to protect us from, call it irresponsible development. I don't know if
what's an example of that?
Yeah. So back in like 2008, right, the depth of the recession back then, the city at that point redid the general plan and specific plan. They call it the Beach and Ettinger Corridor. And so what they did is they allowed high density multifamily developments with no cap on density, no setbacks from the street. So if you actually go to like Beach and Ellis, you'll see the prime example that just everyone's so upset about. But it's it's like a 10-story bomber, like right on the street, no setback. It's just this huge cube.
Yeah.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. I know the building you're talking about. Yeah.
Like right across from that Jack in the Box. People, they hate it, right? I mean, there's like, oh, it's supposed to be affordable housing, but it actually has the inverse effect because those units are so small, right? You can't raise a family there. So you get a lot of transient residents that come in, come out, and they just jack the rents up.
Yeah.
Right. And that affects every other kind of rental in the city. And it was just developed poorly because, again, there's no setbacks. They didn't make them do any, traffic mitigation measures in the street, which you usually have to do, widening or, there wasn't sufficient parking. So it's just a lot of people crammed in one, high density like unit on the corner.
Was that because they were trying to push in low income housing?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Well, that.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that the irony about low income housing, like they were trying to get it into near where I live in the city that I live in, and it didn't pass, fortunately, because like if you look at where low income housing is, it's in the highest housing like rental prices in the nation. Right. It actually has an inverse effect, and
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Thomas Sowell did a lot of good work on that.
He's great, man.
Oh, dude, I've been reading him like crazy.
I guess his new book came out about the charter schools.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
I want to read that.
No, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's a really good book. He basically just nailed it. He made me such a fan of charter schools. I'm like,
absolutely.
Wait, why aren't we doing charter schools? Like every argument he touches on, and you're just like, this is like everybody's looking for solutions, and like it ties into, what a lot of people are protesting right now. Yep. Inner city issues, Black Lives Matter issues, and it's like the best thing that we can do is educate in the best way we can. Kids in the inner city, and charter schools seems the data's in. Like there seems to be a solution.
Well, the answer, right? I mean, it's the teachers union.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like they actually, because I watched an interview with him, but he said, like in New York, there was an empty school and a charter school was going to take it over, and the teachers union pushed their weight around. They actually demolished the school.
Demolished the school. Yep, I heard about that. Insane.
I mean, again, it's
self-preservation.
Yeah, exactly. We get teachers that are tenured.
Yeah,
right? It's like, what is that? Like, no, it's all about performance. That's what life's about.
Yep.
Right. And I love the stats that he was rattling off. I mean, charter students in the same school as public school students, same demographic, of course, right?
Yep.
And just their results statistically on the charter school side it wasn't even close.
Yeah, the same building.
That's what I'm saying. Same exact building.
And then they try to say, well, you're skimming the cream from the top because it's like they did it by lottery to get in that school. So there's just anyway. Thomas Sowell's book was really good. He just nails it. A home run, Thomas Sowell. Good job.
Yeah.
And when I've been working out a bit, I just listen to Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell and working out is like my favorite thing to do.
So what, did he have a podcast or just like on book? Like books
no, he has audiobooks I've been getting. Yeah. So I just I have audio and I have like way too many books. I haven't listened. I say I read it, but that just means I listened to it.
Yeah, well,
I probably audiobooked more books than I have read paperback books.
But I know you're going off on went on a little tangent there, but you were talking about affordable housing.
Yeah,
down in Long Beach and.
Oh yeah, so they tried to they pushed that through. It didn't go through, and I was like, oh yeah, it's because it has such an inverse effect. If you look at it, and then like it's just all the reasons why people get into it, and then once somebody gets in that affordable housing, they don't leave. So it's not like creating opportunities for other people to get it. It's like they get in, they just give it to their friends, they re-rent it out to people they know, and so it becomes a commodity in that sense, and so. It just hasn't worked anywhere.
Well, no, and that's what I was talking about is like irresponsible development is just, because there's always, again, Sacramento's coming in, so you don't have enough affordable housing, and then it just opens the door to, developers coming in and just, I said, like just sucking the bone marrow of profit out of our city. I mean, that one on Beach and Ellis, they sold it for like over $100 million. And
Over 100 million. Damn, I'm in the wrong business.
It's crazy, man. But again, like they could just come in, and it was poor planning by the city in 2008. They didn't do it right. They wanted to get the development fees in, of course, right, to get some revenue during the recession, and they did it poorly. It wasn't well thought out. There wasn't a cap on density, and so of course developers are going to come in. I mean, have you been by where like Bellaterra is on Beach, or Edinger and Gothard? I mean, there's 3 like all in that same intersection, huge, high density, and the community doesn't like it, and I agree. I mean, I'm not anti-development. I mean, I do that as in my career in renovating our shopping centers, but it needs to be done responsibly. I mean, there is a good one on basically Beach and Adams on the west side of Beach where it's set back from the street. It's, 4 stories. They did nice landscaping, again, responsibly done, and so that's a good example of how it could be done.
Well, and the interesting thing, like even the one in near Bellaterra, but I'm seeing a lot of them being built everywhere. Right. Is those like luxury apartment living, and it's like I get it. It's kind of cool and fun to live there. Like you're almost like resort type living, right? But you live there for a year, and then you realize, man, I'm kind of overpaying, and like what I'm paying, I could go buy something, and like. It just I don't really see how people win in that scenario outside of a fun place to live for a little bit maybe.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier is that it has the inverse effect, and so you get a lot of transient residents going in, right? Yep. And they're in and out, and then the rents just keep going higher and higher, and that bleeds out into the neighboring homes, or if people have like a duplex or a fourplex, I mean, they got to compete, right? So their rents go higher, and they're trying to. So it's just a race to the top. So like you said, it has the inverse effect. So that's a big one.
There's a couple other issues that I just wanted to touch on in Huntington Beach because it's interesting for people to listen to this because it's not just a Huntington Beach issue, but maybe we can kind of see where you stand on it or maybe solutions you may have because like we're kind of seeing, especially all around California, we're seeing homeless population increase. Like I'm seeing it increase all around where I live, and even like living in Huntington, like. I remember growing up in Huntington, like I never saw homeless people.
I know, right?
And like,
I never did. When we were in high school, I never. Yeah.
And then now, like it's everywhere.
Right.
And so it's like, so hey, you're going for city council. Like, what are you gonna do? What's your plan here?
It is. I mean, that is one of the main issues. Of course, I want to address, but everyone wants to address it.
Yeah.
It's so complicated. I've learned too that. Because of our national prestige, I mean, we're by the beach, so it draws more people that way. But also there's like rehab homes. Yeah, you heard about that, right? In the community, and we have a great city attorney, Michael Gates, who just passed last year some really stringent regulations. But the old ones, he says it'll probably take about 5 years for those to, kind of go defunct and move out of the neighborhood. But what happens is these patients move out here. They advertise on the East Coast. Yeah, come out, live by the beach.
Oh, there's advertising on the East Coast to come out too. Yes. Like, come live by the beach. Yes. Come in the transient home here. Rehab home. Things like that.
And then when they're
that's I get the problem with that, but that's pretty clever. Like on there,
I mean, why not?
Because they get paid for every person that they get in there. I know this because I almost opened one. Yeah. I was talking with somebody about opening one, and I was like doing the math, and I was like, this is actually a pretty good business.
It is.
And then I ended up not doing it for a bunch of reasons. Sure. But then it was like, so that's interesting.
So what happens though is their insurance runs out.
Yeah.
And they kick them out.
Oh, and then
they're
there
straight up. Just put their luggage out on this. I've talked to a lot of people that put it out on the front porch, and you're out. And so they're not going to go home.
Yeah.
Right. And unfortunately,
not going to go all the way over to the East Coast. And don't even have the money to get there.
Yeah, or they haven't finished their entire treatment, so then they slip back into drug abuse, and it just spirals out of control.
That's what I'm seeing is a lot of the homeless issue is that it's either like 9 out of 10 from what I'm seeing anyway. Yeah. Is that it's either they're a drug issue or like a serious mental health issue.
It's mental health,
And so it's like, like pardon the term, but they used to have like loony bins, right? And then I don't remember when they got rid of them, but I think Reagan might have got rid of them.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
then, and then it was like a long time ago. There used to be like more places for people to go that had mental
Right.
health issues, and now like I don't even know where they go. And well, I think we're seeing them like all over the street.
Yep.
And you talk to some police officers, and they're just like, yeah, we just pick them up, put them in, and then we see them out the next day.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, we're doing something wrong here, guys.
I know, and I guess other states do it way better. That's one thing I'm gonna like kind of dig into, like what they're doing differently.
Oh, okay.
'Cause it seems like California is more of a magnet for that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the weather.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But that's why they advertise on
Like,
come to the beach.
yeah, if I was homeless, I'd
Yeah.
be hanging out in California.
Right. So, I mean, there is good news on the horizon in that, right now you can't force anti-camping laws if you don't have a bed in a shelter for that, that citizen. So the city actually just broke ground, Huntington Beach did 2 days ago, on the permanent homeless shelter.
Oh, okay, good.
So it's called a navigation center. So the goal is, once that's open, there'll be I think 125 beds there for the homeless population, and then once that's built, then you can start enforcing the anti-camping laws.
Yeah.
Bring them in. They call it a navigation center because they want to, first give you a shelter, treat your mental health, right, and then like your physical health, and try to get you transitioned back into society.
Yeah.
Be a productive member.
I think that's great.
It's huge.
Like it gives people help.
Yeah.
And they're not parked out in some tent and figuring it out. And like I was talking with somebody who used to be homeless, and they were just like, man, like just taking a shower each day was a challenge, and just finding food each day was a challenge. And it's like that's all. Like every day is just the stress on you just to survive. And
For sure.
like I get that, and you got to worry about like if when you leave, is your tent gone, things like that. It's like, dang, man, that is a stress.
And look, we're Americans, and we're not callous people. Like, we're the most generous, nation on earth, and we give the most to charity. So we care about these people. And it's just such a complicated issue. But like I said, there it seems like there is light at the end of the tunnel. The challenge will be, can we treat them enough for them to be a productive member, or once they get out, do they slip back in that lifestyle? So it's just tough, man. But like I said, if we can just lean into that, it's actually falls under the purview of Orange County, their health department. Homelessness does. So they're building the shelter now. We bought the land as a city. They're building it, but they have responsibilities to address the homelessness. So we got to really lean on them as well. So it's like a dual pronged approach where, we have a task force of like 3 to 5 officers. We have 3 to 5, caseworkers as well, social workers. And so there's a homeless task force. So now, once the shelter's up, it's really, forcing those anti-camping laws, having them come in, leaning on the county to make sure they're living up to their responsibilities, and kind of doing it that way from a city, local issue, then working with the county, and just really trying to see if we can have an impact. Because, again, we're not callous, but some of the stuff you see, like on Main Street, and you got your kids down there, and there's guys like shooting up.
Yeah,
it's just not acceptable.
No, just like whatever the version is of how we're handling it now it's not working clearly, and it's not working to the nth degree because it's expanding and growing.
I know. I mean, I heard the stat was there's like over 300 homeless people in Huntington Beach, and I was like shocked.
Wow,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
But as long as we have like a bed for them, then we can, that's where the process starts.
Yeah. Yeah, if they have a bed and a place to get some help,
right,
and they know where they're going to go, and they don't have to stress about that for the day, then they can maybe do something with their day that might be productive. You take that stress away, and people start to have the ability to expand their horizons a bit. And
the success rate, though, still is only 10%.
That's the success rate. Dang, that's pretty low.
It's low, man. So, but you just gotta keep fighting it, and you gotta keep focusing on it. And
that's all you can do. That's right? 1 in 10, and then you can start to build off that.
Exactly.
I'm gonna grab another drink real quick, but we do have another segment. It's a new segment, actually.
I heard about this. I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh yeah. I'm stoked about this. So Jason was here, audience. So Josh, as you may not know, is very much into conspiracies. And
can you give me some past examples of I know we're gonna hear this one. But
Oh yeah, we've had several debates on is the moon, like what the moon is.
What do you
Did we go to the moon?
Oh, he's one of those guys.
Yeah. What was it made out of? Is it what was it, Josh? Is it empty?
Empty.
Is it hollow?
Is it hollow? So just for the record, I'm on the moon is not hollow side,
Thank you.
but
Have you been to the center of the moon?
no,
All right, so-
that's where he gets me every time because I have not been there.
But we do believe in gravity, so
Yeah. So, but okay, so let's introduce the new segment. It's called Josh's Conspiracy Corner, and
Queued up here.
yeah, cue it up. Here we go.
Welcome to the corner.
Conspiracy. China. George Soros.
Josh's Conspiracy Corner.
that was amazing.
Welcome to Josh's Conspiracy Corner. Josh, what conspiracy do you have for us today?
Yeah, guys. Hey, welcome to the corner. So, we're not gonna start with anything as crazy as the mood. We'll work into that.
The audience isn't ready for that yet.
That's
Like,
going deep.
I don't want to blow their minds just yet.
Yeah, you got to ease them in, man.
yeah.
So, what I've got today is a possible murder.
Really,
Oh, a possible murder, so maybe not a murder.
like a cold case.
Look, it's a theory.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Okay, yes.
It's pretty interesting though. It's actually about this reporter. His name is Michael Hastings.
Okay,
He died back in 2013 in a car accident.
okay,
So to kind of give you a little backstory here, he was a reporter. He was writing a piece for Rolling Stone,
Okay.
which got put out in 2010. It's an article called "The Runaway General," and it was about this general named Stanley McChrystal. He was commander of NATO International Security Assistance Force in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Oh, that already sounds conspiracy right there. Like, oh, okay,
So-
okay, now I'm engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm liking where this is going.
So he's over there in Afghanistan doing a piece on this guy, and that big volcano eruption happens. He was supposed to have kind of limited, time with him, and everything's supposed to be kind of on the record,
Yeah.
professional. But all the flights got grounded, so they had to take a bus. So he gets stuck on a bus with this general going to Berlin. So he's with him for a lot more time than he was supposed to, and he's around all the people in kind of his inner circle
Right.
as well. So he gets to know
Okay,
these
so he's
people.
getting all the real info.
Yeah,
What's
they're
really
kind of getting
going
comfortable
on?
with him. They're saying things maybe they shouldn't be.
Yeah. Okay.
So they put out. He puts out this article, and apparently a lot of these people had been saying disparaging remarks about Obama, people in the elected government,
Yep.
the people that get to make the decisions that maybe the military doesn't like as much.
So they were talking a lot of shit,
They were
basically.
talking a lot of shit, basically.
Around other people, around a reporter too. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and he put out a book later, a couple years later, where he talks about some of the people would say things to him like,
What was that book called? I think.
it was called The Operators
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
remember
a-
seeing that.
in 2012. Yeah,
Yeah.
he talks about like sometimes they'd be drinking and these guys would say like, you better not say something we don't like or we'll come find you. And he's always like, oh,
like joking,
like just joking.
joking, not joking.
Yeah, he's like, oh, they were just joking. So this general gets recalled by the President Obama, goes, meets with him, and is basically forced to resign. So he's like, hey, you're done. You're fired. So that's the whole thing.
From that book. Okay, so this is
Yeah,
all
that-
the backstory.
That's that kicks off everything.
And then you got in a car accident. Okay.
Yeah,
it
so
sounds pretty normal to me.
June 18th, 2013.
Yeah. Okay.
He's driving his Mercedes Benz, 4:25 in the morning, in LA neighborhood. Witness and camera see the car, and the report is that he was speeding like top speed,
Yeah.
so 100
I
plus.
mean, what was he doing at 4:25 in the morning?
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
Driving at top speed.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
It gets a little different here, but he crashes. He loses control of the car, crashes into a tree, into a palm tree. Car bursts into flames. He dies. They have to use his fingerprints because the remains are so charred up, and
Wow.
just a bad scene. So everyone's like, "Man, that's crazy." It's still crazier.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, but it's only a certain level of crazy yet, so I'm hoping it gets a little crazier. Because right now, here's what I got. Just let me go through this. So we got a dude that, hey, he's talking to the general. They're all getting, hey, we're on a bus. They're talking shit to each other. Like,
Off the record
off,
stuff,
hey, this is
yeah.
off the record, but that guy's a piece of shit. You know what he did? You know how many Asian twins he hung out with? Like, all this crazy stuff. And then, so he got all the inside info. And then,
This was like the top guy.
yeah,
in
so
Afghanistan.
he got
This was a
good
big-time
inside info.
general.
Okay, all right. And then he crashed because he was in L.A.
Yeah, but again, 4:25 in the morning.
4:25 in the
What do you-
morning.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're not
he
gonna-
wasn't going to a meeting.
Top
I'm saying.
speed.
Yeah, top speed. Okay,
So,
so he's on coke.
well, apparently the day before the crash, he had emailed his colleagues, other reporters, friends, things like that, that he thought he was under surveillance or being investigated by the FBI
Really?
for some reason. Yeah, so he was apparently doing some kind of report on the CIA. He never had a chance to finish it, unfortunately, so we'll never really know what he was working on.
Okay,
But he told all the people in the email, he was like, the FBI might come talk to you. I need to go off the radar because I'm worried that, I'm being watched.
Wow.
So then he gets in touch with WikiLeaks.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he says,
There you
hey,
go.
look, I've got some information, but I'm being watched. Like, we need to meet up. So they're working on that. They're trying to set it all up. This is the day before.
Wow.
the
oh, he
accident.
contacts Wiki. Okay. Now it's getting juicy.
Okay.
So he contacts WikiLeaks the day before, saying all this.
And sends out an email to colleagues. So USA Today did some digging, and they reported that right before the crash, he had expressed concern that his car was being tampered with.
Really?
He doesn't know why, but he said someone was tampering with his car, he thought, and he wanted to leave town. This is what he told people.
Damn.
Tampering with the car. Okay.
Well, he obviously knew. I mean,
Yeah.
he's saying all these things.
So,
People are on me, they're watching me.
Okay, the conspiracy's
So
mounting. I
there's
like
a lot
this
of
build up.
He's focused on the car for
Yeah.
some reason. Well, that same morning, so about 4 hours prior to the crash, he visits a neighbor of his, and he asked to borrow her car. He told her that he was afraid to drive his own.
Well, I was just gonna say that. Like, why didn't he get like another car? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm afraid I don't want to drive my car. Can I have your car? She's like, no, you can't. You can't drive my car. Drive your. You have a
Wow.
Mercedes. You can drive your own car. So she says, no, you can't.
Wow.
4 hours later, he's dead.
Damn.
Dang.
You're probably wondering, what does this have to do? He's just a bad driver. He's on drugs. There's a lot of things. Well, apparently, this is back in 2013. This happened, mind you. Apparently, especially back then, it was pretty easy to hack a car. A lot of the newer cars have computer chips in them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, WikiLeaks released some information from the CIA that they had gotten detailing car hacking as one of their potential tools to use for whatever you would use it for.
Really?
Maybe you use it to listen to people on the microphone, listen to their conversations. Maybe you use it to hack into the steering system
Right.
and steer the car off a bridge.
Oh, okay. So this is where we're getting on the corner. Is
This is where we hit the corner. We were going
okay.
straight.
Yeah.
Now we're at the corner. So there's a guy. His name is Richard A. Clark. He was former U.S. National Coordinator for Security, Infrastructure Protection, and Counterterrorism. So this guy's he knows what he's talking about.
Right.
He says that based on everything we know about the crash, it seems to be consistent with a car cyber attack. So
Really?
He says that there's nothing involved in. He's not saying that's what it is, but he's saying like if it was a car cyber attack, this is what you would expect to see. He's also saying, he's quoted as saying, quote, intelligence agencies for major powers, including the U.S., know how to remotely seize control of a car, end quote.
Yeah. What did they run him into?
A palm tree.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Just to make a statement.
Going 100 plus.
In California,
Uh,
going
So-
going 100 plus 4:30 in the morning. I just want to know where he's going at 4:30 in the morning. Like,
maybe he was just going down to the liquor store to get a drink.
yeah,
Well, no, I mean,
He was
it's
just-
yeah, but it sounded like he was obviously spooked. I mean, because you said 4 hours before, which had been like midnight, he was trying to get another car to probably get out of town or whatever. I
Yeah,
would imagine.
apparently something about his car was freaking him out. He was
Yeah.
noticing things that were off. He really didn't like the car. He thought it was being tampered with, or maybe he was being followed. He tried to borrow somebody's car.
Yeah.
all right. Okay. So now we got to judge the
What is
corner
it? I don't know.
conspiracy.
Are you done though?
Oh yeah. Is there more?
Well, the only other thing I have to say is that there have been researchers that have done car hacks, not very recently, but
Yeah.
back 2014, 2015, 2010. A couple of researchers in their spare time with minimal resources were able to hack into a 2014 Jeep Cherokee. They were able to turn the wheels, disable the brakes,
Wow.
and then they could shut down the engine. And they were saying, if we two guys can do this with limited resources, imagine what somebody who
Yeah.
knew what they were doing.
Was that the type of car he was driving? Oh, he was
was a
driving a
Benz.
Mercedes.
He
Yeah.
was driving a Mercedes Benz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's been a lot of people.
Ooh, Josh, you're coming out the gate hot on this
Yeah.
one because
They actually their research caused Fiat to recall 1.4 million vehicles because they were like, hey, these cars are easily hackable.
Wow.
Well, you wonder how does someone hack into a car? Well, apparently you do it through the entertainment system, the entertainment/navigation system, which QNX is like a very popular one that a lot of cars use.
Yep.
Wouldn't you know it? In the CIA documents that get released, they talk about the QNX as a possible mission area. They seem to know that that's, if you were going to hack into a car and gain control, that's where you would want to start. That's what you'd want to do.
I would like to read the CIA doc, and if it says like, okay, if you were going to do this, like in the training manual of how to hack, and then if you're going to do this, you go into this type of system, you get them at a high rate of speed, and the optimal target is to hit a palm tree. If it says that, then
A palm tree, a rock,
yeah,
anything going 120 miles an hour. Is
yeah,
bad.
you're pretty
bad
pretty
spot.
much done. What's the fastest you've ever gone?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I was in Arizona. I think I got to like 105.
Okay.
So that was my limit.
What about you, Casey? What's the fastest you ever driven?
Dude, I'm an old lady, man.
Oh yeah.
I drive slow, about maybe over 100.
Okay.
It just makes me like nervous. I mean, you can ask my wife. I'm just
It was
yeah.
one time.
Okay, yeah, I'm not recommending it.
yeah.
I'm just
I did it
curious.
just to see if the car could get there,
Yeah.
and then it got there. I was like, okay, I'm done.
One time my buddy got this brand new, real hot car, and we were driving to Vegas, and it was like straight away.
Oh,
I got up to 140. That's the high, but there's something about like
yeah.
when you're getting that fast.
Totally.
I got really like
Freaked
scared, focused,
Oh, yeah.
nervous. And like all you see is like straight in front of you. You don't see any peripheral or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's
Oh, yeah.
really weird.
Well, so what was his top speed?
We don't actually know. Oh, that's. I'm glad you brought that back up though.
Thank you.
So we don't actually know the top speed. The witness said they were like it was fucking fast. He was going top, whatever the top speed is. That's probably what he was doing.
Yeah.
Really?
But for some reason there were no brake marks. There were no skid marks. He didn't. So he slammed into this tree. Lost control.
Damn.
He didn't try to slow down or stop at all, which
Was there
it's weird.
was there a toxicology report? Like, was he?
There was. He had I think it was some marijuana and some crystal meth. But
the old crystal meth.
whoa, let me qualify. Let me
The
qualify
old
this.
crystal meth.
Let me qualify this.
No, he was fine.
The old
And now we
Chappelle.
know what he was doing
Look,
at
maybe
4:30 in the morning.
It's possible that he'd done crystal meth at some point, in the past month. I don't know how long it's in your system, but the coroner said that the what he saw would not have affected him in the way that would have caused the accident. So that's what the coroner said. I'm not a coroner. I didn't see the report. I just said
No,
what he said. So.
he thought he was flying a spaceship and was like, "Oh, time to go light speed." And then he was
I don't know, man. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, the whole WikiLeaks thing. I mean,
The CIA's. He was doing a report on the CIA.
Oh, yeah.
They look into hacking cars. People in the know say, yeah, it can be done, and that's something that all the governments look into. He's worried about his car. He doesn't want to drive it. He crashes into a tree at top speed. Doesn't even try to brake.
yeah.
No skid.
you have mounting circumstantial evidence. Yeah.
You
See, I
know
don't.
what?
I'm sure you're like me. Like, I don't believe in coincidences.
No,
I just don't.
no. This is
There's too many coincidences there. You know.
You know what?
Casey, you're very sold on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I- I would convict. So
Yeah, okay. Like you make a compelling case. You might have me on this one. I still say the moon is not hollow, but
well, that's for another,
Josh,
another time.
have you dug into like the Seth Rich conspiracy on that?
He was with the Clintons, maybe? Is that what it is?
But
Yeah.
I would recommend looking that one up.
Yeah. Is
That's-
that the one where he shot himself in the head twice? Or?
Yeah, he was burglarized, shot in the back, but yet they didn't take his cell phone or his wallet. And so they actually think that he's the one that released all the emails to WikiLeaks.
Oh, that's the
he's the
recent
source.
one.
Yes.
Too. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused because there's so many people with.
But that was,
Clintons
that was in
die.
2016. I know, or suicided, right?
Yeah, it's suicide.
Yeah.
Suicide list. But no, yeah, he was shot in the back, and that's the main conspiracy is that he was the one that sent all the emails to WikiLeaks with Clinton's emails and John Podesta and all that. And so he was like an intern at the DNC and just saw everything that was going on. He's like, I got to do something about it. And then, lo and behold, shot in the back and robbed. But they didn't take his wallet or his phone.
Maybe his shoes. Who knew?
No, I mean, but look it up.
Did he have Jordans on? That's what we need to check out. We need to see the full report.
Look, just because you don't know the whole conspiracy doesn't mean it's not there. There are conspiracies.
And
They are real.
there are conspiracies. I just heard a couple of them.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on this one.
All right. Thank you for Josh's conspiracy corner. Round of applause for Josh,
Thanks for
everyone.
having
Good job, bud.
Oh man! Oh, we're making that a regular jam on the show, Josh. We got to get to some of the real good ones. Like I'm with you though. The Earth is definitely flat, but
See, I think next time you do, you gotta have the exit music as well. You gotta like really.
oh
Yeah. Like I love that, like Sora.
When he first played that for you, I was dying laughing. Oh, the best intro
That's so
ever.
good. Yeah. It's like China,
Soros. Okay, so we're almost wrapping up. Let's. I probably want to bring up one thing that I see, which is really interests me, and is a lot of the protesting that was going on down in Main Street, and really on both sides of the issues.
Sure.
You're seeing like big protests from that.
Right.
So, like, I guess my questions are like, as somebody that's involved in government and like if you become part of the city council, how do you promote that? How do you deal with that? Do you try to calm it down? Do you try to lift it up? Like how do you deal with something like that?
Yeah, I mean, of course it's tough, but it's a constitutional right for peaceful protest.
Mm-hmm.
The key word is peaceful.
Yeah.
So as long as you're peacefully protesting, I mean, of course, that's your constitutional right. So to answer your question, I mean, there's got to be ways to, de-escalate the tension.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, obviously, both sides feel a certain way, and again, like it's important that, especially in this environment where currently in the country, it's it's not a left versus right thing. It's we're Americans. We're, in my opinion, the greatest country in the world that's developed in 244 years, the greatest standard of living the world's ever seen. Lifted millions out of poverty, create a land of opportunity for anybody. So I truly feel that way. I think there's solutions if we can just have nice civil debates, right, and not assume I'm right and you're wrong, and vice versa.
Yeah, there seems to be
It's just tough. It's
it's
crazy.
there's a little too much of that.
It
Like
is,
I think when it was initially going on, I was starting to really get on, formulate my opinion and start to really look at it. But then the conversation just got so out of whack. Where I was just like, man, even if I was for or against something, I can't really engage with it because it's like we're kind of talking a little too crazy here, guys.
My whole thing is, and I try to teach this to my wife as much as she can because she's got a few friends that just get so heated, and I was like, you gotta just calm down, like let me share my point of view, and then your turn. Let's not get too emotional and like try to outshout each other.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. But it's at a baseline, like there can't be violence. You can't be destroying property. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, back in like the Martin Luther King days, I mean, there's a way to do it peacefully, and it's very impactful.
Yeah.
And you get more people to, understand your concerns and issues. But when you start burning stuff and tearing stuff down and destroying, these private citizens' hard work, I mean, in some of these communities, I mean, African American owned small businesses, I mean, their heart and soul is in there, and it's destroyed, and that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah,
It's sad.
I've seen some, like when you see the aftermath and you see like the business owner, they're not like a millionaire, and they're just making it, and they're just so devastated when their business gets ravaged like that.
It's their whole life. And you have insurance. Like, no, this is not how it works.
Yeah.
You have a deductible, of course, and all that.
No, I know. I had a couple of businesses get looted. It was just like, geez, ridiculous.
But I mean, to answer your question, it's just it's tough to when it's that hot and that heated. You know, like how do you pull someone into a civil debate? And I don't think anyone has the answer right now. I mean, the only real way to do it is just there's a lot of tension right now with everything that's going on. Of course, I mean, COVID and all these issues. It's just like a tempest right now, like this year. You know,
it was almost like a perfect storm of like everybody's quarantined initially. And then there's these divisive topics, and so then everybody just started to, pick their side, and like just seeing people on like social media has been hilarious. People are just getting they're hating each other.
It's crazy, man. Like, I mean, you know, so running for this campaign, like I didn't have Facebook before.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow. Good for you.
I know. I mean, I have like Twitter, but I just to follow news. You know? So, but I have to get like a Facebook page. Which I did, of course, personally, and then for my campaign. And then there's all these big, you know, forums in the city, like, you know, HB Community Forum, HB Awareness, which is why I'm wearing this shirt, the Take Back HB. Like, they're big and I'll get into this in a second, down the south side of Huntington with all the environmental stuff going on. But I introduced myself to these forums and these communities. I mean, there's like 35,000 members in there, and I just immediately just fireballs being like launched my way, like it was like the movie 300, just arrows like in the sky, like dark in the sky. You know?
Like, hey guys, I'm running for city council.
Where do you stand on this? Like, how are you gonna solve this issue? What are you gonna do about the street lights? I'm like, okay. So I spent like an hour just answering all these questions, and I go to bed at like 11:15 at night. I've been like answering questions for like an hour. You know, I got to work, right? So I go to sleep. My buddy texts me at like 7 in the morning, like screenshots the forum, and people are like, "What? You can't answer that? What? Radio silent?" I'm like, "Dude, like I got."
Are you afraid to answer the question?
I'm
like, "No, I fell asleep." Dude.
Yeah, so I texted my buddy. I'm like, "I got to sleep sometime," you know. He's like, "Well, get back in there." So like, you know, I made my coffee, and like from 7 a.m. to like 8:30, like dug out of that hole, you know. And I was like, "Look, guys, I mean, I'm not trying to duck you. I will answer all of your questions. I do have a full-time job, so I just ask for your patience. And if I don't answer right away, I'll get to it." So by that last weekend, Saturday, I started, changing hearts and minds. Like, we appreciate you coming in and facing these tough questions, and taking the time. I'm like, yeah, of course, I'm here to answer any question you have. I mean, it's important that you vet me out. But the reason I bring it up is that I'm just shocked by the keyboard warriors that are on there. I mean, the one lady in particular just totally blasted me, shot me down. What have you done for the community? I shared what I've done, and oh, that's not impressive. Like, it just totally, ripping me apart.
Yeah,
you don't even know me.
Kind of, no matter what you say, you're like, what have you done for the community? Well, I did this and that.
Yeah,
it's just like that's not enough.
Oh, like my kids can do that. I'm like, okay, but to bring it back though, it's like that's really why I want to like do this is. I want to have an open door policy. I want to meet as many people as I can. That's what I'm really enjoying about it. Like, it's only been 2 weeks. It's just the amount of people I've met, hearing their concerns in the city, what they care about, what they see, whether it's something from, I don't like the traffic lights in the city. I'm like, can you give me more detail? They're not synced up appropriately. I'm like, okay, yeah, I agree. Let's look into it with the traffic and, the Public Works Department, traffic and safety.
That's a big win in some areas. Like, it seems like such a minor thing, but I notice it when certain lights aren't synced. I'm like, why don't they just sync up and then it makes so much more sense?
I know. Like it's like the old wives stuff. You just drive the speed limit, you'll always hit the green light. But what I was just basically saying is that if we can just have open dialogue and open conversations like that, I think we can bring down the boiling point where people get so fired up, and it goes too far.
Damn.
And then it leads to, like I said, destruction. It's like, no, man, let's sit down, calm down if we can. Which is tough. And then let's have these conversations, man. Let's get back to having civil debate.
Well, I feel like, and here's a little bit of hope. I feel like we're almost there because I'm seeing it in some people, and now some people, like, their rage is subsiding a little bit, and they're starting to, have a little more civil discourse on some things, and like I've even adjusted how I'm like talking about things, and
me too.
Because I in a way, like I pulled back a lot, and then I was like, I'm not gonna tiptoe through the tulips on this stuff. I'm just gonna really say what I think, but I will listen to people, and I think people really want to be heard. Right. I think that's the thing. So I think that's probably like one of the things that's resonated with me from what you've said is like a lot of the answers of what you said is you're like I'm gonna go to the public.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what they say.
Right.
And I think that's important. I think that's how, like, even you getting, like, answering back everybody on that, I think that's big. I think people appreciated that. okay, he at least listened to what I say. And I think that's kind of how we start to get through this stuff.
No, exactly. And it's like the whole when we first started our government as a country, it's called like the public square, right? You go on the public square, you have debates, what are the issues we face, and then that's how laws were created, and we came to an agreement on how we should approve this law or what based on the public square and the comments that are out there. So that's what you got to get back to, and it's just critical that you listen to one another. And when you are elected to like a council position, I mean, the way I look at it is like I'm a conduit for my community, right? I'm not going to come in there with a preset of ideas and ideals, and it has to be this way. And like, no, like what are your guys' concerns? I mean, the last part of my platform is like living on the south side of HB. I didn't realize, because we grew up on the north side, went to Marina High School. I mean, that's just a different world, and you see it. But
is this the Take Back HB?
Yeah, Take Back.
Yep.
So it's like HB awareness is the group, but there's so many things going on with the power plant next door. It's called the ASCON, like toxic waste dump. I didn't know this, but like in the 40s and 50s, like the coastline was just full of like the oil wells and rigs. And so all the companies would come and they would dump in the residue from the oil rigs into this big pit right next to the power plant. And now it's deemed like a Superfund site, like Chevron owns it. And they, try to cap it with concrete. That's what the con of the ASCON comes from, like concrete and pillars. And they didn't realize that like when they did that, there's like, I guess, air pockets develop. And so last year they tried to remediate it, and they puncture one of these air pockets, and this huge plume of just toxic, God knows what, goes in the air. And so I met with all the citizens down there, and they just feel disenfranchised by the city because it's like the ugly stepchild of HB. Yeah. And they actually have toxic air readers on their homes for the air quality.
Oh, really?
I mean, we're talking like Aaron Brockovich stuff. They actually call the track across from ASCON on Magnolia in Hamilton. They call it the cancer track. I mean, 10 people over the last like 20 years have developed like brain cancer there.
Oh, really?
Because they're right next to that ASCON.
Yeah,
so.
I know exactly what you're talking about too.
It's crazy.
Random question about that power plant. Wasn't that not operational for a while, and they recently fired it back up?
No, it's a good question. So that's where they get fired up. But so AES owns it. So they just built a new one, right? It's smaller. It's much more aesthetically pleasing. It's like blue, and they're going to put in like a really cool like wave wall to kind of like facade to screen it,
Here's our wave wall.
Here's our wave wall.
See how pretty it is?
Yeah, exactly. Don't look over here. Plant. Yeah. So they sold that to the community, but then the state comes in and goes, you can't shut down the old one. We don't have enough power. So you got to keep that one open for 3 years. So now instead of one power plant, we got two.
Oh, I see.
And so they were supposed to tear down the old one. I mean, it's
it's a monstrosity.
It's a monstrosity. It's just old. I mean, it looks like, the last scene in like Terminator.
Yeah, totally.
When Sarah Connor is like running from the Terminator, but so the city, all the citizens down there are like, great. Now instead of one, we got two, and now they're both running. Some of the neighbors say when they fire up the turbines in the morning, I mean, it wakes them up out of bed like their walls shake. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, at least there's an end date to it. They got until
but the fear is like, okay, 3 years. No, guess what? I mean, there's rolling blackouts in California.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? We can't manage our own power grid. It's insane. We're the 7th biggest economy in the world, and we can't figure out how to keep the lights on.
There's a lot of things we can't figure out in California.
You're telling me, bro. You're telling me. But so there's that. So like that's kind of the last thing I want to focus on is really being, of course, like a voice to the entire city, but really leaning into that and because I didn't know, and I had a couple of people come to my house last week and tell me what they've been fighting for, for the last like 20 years. And I'm like, I'm here to represent you guys. Like there hasn't been someone from the South Side on council, they said, in like, years, like maybe like 20 years, so it's just, to me, that's the most fun part. And I was telling my wife this, that's what I'm most enjoying. It's only been 2 weeks, but just the amount of people I'm meeting, talking to, and understanding their concerns, and then just really loving that I can actually hopefully, once elected, or hopefully be elected, right? But once I'm in, just be an agent for change and really focus on answering like their concerns, and because life's so busy, right? You're working, you're trying to pay the mortgage and raise a family, and but everyone's got issues, so it's like let's come together and let's try to figure out how to solve them.
Yeah, and I think the best thing is just do what your platform is really is, hey, listen to people, right, and have somebody to represent you.
Yeah.
and know what's going on. Like even like I'd never heard anything that you were talking about with
Yeah.
like the south side and that
I know.
power
We
plant.
grew
I
up
didn't even
there.
know there was
No,
a
we
second
grew up
power
there.
plant there. The waves probably hit it from me, but
yeah, no, the wave's not up yet. I mean,
Okay.
See, that's the thing. They can't put the wave wall up until they turn on the old ones.
Oh
But
jeez.
yeah, no,
I guess they got two sitting there.
yeah, you just don't know. But like I said, we grew up on the north side. Like I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You knew the power plant, but and they always say it's like a different world. You drive from the north side of HB to the south. You know when you get to the south, it's just like this huge bomber, like old, power plants.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, cool, Casey.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. Hey, let's. I think you have a flyer. Let's
Yeah.
put it up in the camera so that everyone from Huntington can see. If you're from Huntington Beach, Casey McKeon, number 12,
yeah, number 12 on the ballot, number 1 in your hearts.
number 1 in your hearts, everybody.
Yeah,
Casey.
Don't get upset when I'm dropping off these mailers on your front doorstep over the next month here. But
Well, hey, they need the reminder.
well, yeah, you got to get your name ID out there. I mean, my buddy did this like logo. It's pretty sweet, huh? With the pier,
Oh, nice. Yeah,
with the waves and all that.
yeah, beautiful, man.
Yeah, so that's cool. Anyway, but no, man, I really appreciate it. Like this was a lot of fun.
No, cool, Casey. Hey,
I mean, I
if
could-
you ever, after you win, you got to come back
Oh,
on.
absolutely.
All right, cool,
I'm,
brother.
I'm down to update the community, man.
All right, everybody. Chasen was here. Josh, thanks for running the show again. You're the man.
Big Josh.
And Casey, thanks for being on.
Yep.
And we are out.
See you guys.